Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Buhari, what Nigerians stand to gain from Tinubu and Shatima. Elections will hold as planned, says federal government. 150 nurses resigned from Lassa in the last 3 years. Judiciary won't be manipulated under me, says CJN Ariwola. DSS won't succumb to intimidation and harassment. Sanwo-Olu, Uzodinma, others mourn Anyam Osigwe. Huge crowd welcomes Peter Obi to Onitsha. Okay, which story are we starting with in Nation?
Okay, so I'll take the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Lassa, the CMD, was speaking, and he said that in the last 3 years, 150 nurses have relocated, and so that means 150 nurses have resigned from Lassa because they are relocating. I guess Japa is the word. And he says that, but thankfully, there hasn't been any void created by their leaving because they have what they call a replacement strategy where they're recruiting even more nurses who are even doubly qualified. Also talking to, involving retired nurses, nurses who are retired but not tired. So they're making sure that, we have nurses on ground. He also talked about an ongoing construction of the SDG building, which is a 120-bed capacity in the hospital, and is 90% complete. He says it's going to help a lot with the issue of bed space shortages, and he said that the SDG building is, it's something that once it's complete, it would stop a lot of the, going away. Yeah. He says that there's also a committee that they have put in place so that people are moved from the emergency critical section and taking ease into regular wards. So Lassa is doing a lot to make sure that patients are taken care of. The JAPA movement is not affecting them, and more bed spaces will be introduced.
So the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ariwola, was speaking yesterday at a conference in Abuja. It's a conference of attorney generals in Nigeria, and the theme was enhancing synergy between the federal government, state government, and administration of justice. And he was specifically saying that he would not let the judiciary be in any way manipulated under his watch. According to him, he said that without equivocation, that the rule of law has been assailed from all fronts in this country, especially by those who are supposed to uphold it. And those are those actually not attaining the rule of law. He says there's no more news that judicial officers, even court facilities, have been voraciously attacked, molested, harassed, and desecrated. He's still letting us know that we shouldn't mistake that golden silence for weakness or vulnerability. That the judiciary under his watch would not sit by the sidelines and watch the temple of justice and ministers of justice being flagrantly chastised, whipped into silence, and that Nigeria must be governed by the rule of law and constitution. So I'm happy about that.
Group of people that also would not succumb to intimidation are the DSS. So the Public Relation Officer, Dr. Peter Afunaya, has given a statement that they've heard that some disgruntled politicians, they uncovered plans by some disgruntled elements, including politicians and people outside the government, are sponsoring a smear campaign against the DSS. They are particularly attacking the Director General of DSS, Yusuf Bichi, and other key officials. They mentioned that they are seeing a lot of plots to engage civil society, protests, media, rallies, road shows, press conferences to discredit Yusuf Bichi, and they said that that of his family and a few of the heads of the DSS, but that they would not allow that to distract them, and they're letting the public know that this is going to continue over the next few months, and that their focus is on creating an enabling environment for 2023 general elections and confront head-on the threat to national security.
Another story in the nation. Let's move on now to, you have a story? Move on to Punch. Last lap, Tinubu campaign mulls alliance with smaller parties. Blackout and 16 die in California flooding. 2 female suspects detained over Lagos missing baby. Nigerian passport falls by 38 places in global ranking. FG shortlists 139 bidders for gas project. Entertainers, politicians eulogize Anya Musigwe as AMA founder dies. Government attack NDLEA operatives, soldiers rescue Lagos Baron, and Obi promises to negotiate with Biafran agitators. Okay, so where are we starting with?
I wanted to take the female suspects. You know, I think you took it on Monday, that this lady who had a baby in the hospital, the policeman came, took the baby, arrested her and her 2 kids, and gave her, I think, 15,000. I said he doesn't want to see her in the police station again. Yeah. Okay. She didn't agree, so he now gave her another 170,000. Gave the baby to another lady. So the police have rounded up the 2 ladies because that first lady now says she gave it to another baby, not another lady. So they've rounded up, but they still don't know where the baby is. They've arrested the policeman. His name is he's an inspector, Samuel Ukpabio, and they've arrested him. So the 3 of them, and the CP has promised that he's going to uncover and find where that baby is.
We're looking forward to that.
Do so quickly.
The major headline, the Tinubu-Shetima campaign has, I don't know why they called it last lap. I was trying to understand what they meant by last lap, but there was a meeting, apparently, a strategy meeting that took place with all gubernatorial candidates as well, and the presidential campaign council to see how to plan towards the February 25th election and ensure that APC gets to win. And part of what they want to do is they are adopting an approach of conversation with smaller parties to see how they can merge those smaller parties' votes with their own. They also mentioned that this came as a result of after having conversations with the G5 integrity group governors to see if they would endorse their candidate, and it seemed like that's not working out, that they're trying to follow another approach. The spokesperson for PCC, Minister of Labour and Employment, Festus Kemo, said it's a welcome development in politics. You need to get as many people as you can, as many political parties and candidates that have seen the light are ready to team up with Ashiwaju, and we welcome them on board. It's an extremely welcome development. So basically that's the story.
I have suspected gunmen numbering about 20 on Tuesday ambushed some NDLEA operatives who were trailing a drug baron from the Agege area to around Ikoyi area. They said that they were trying to intercept a truck conveying unknown quantities of Canadian loud on the Awolowo Road in Ikoyi. And this happened about 1 a.m. when they came under a rain of gunfire by the attackers. But the attackers were repelled with the assistance of some soldiers who were there along the way. This is after, as we're aware, NDLEA recently froze 126 bank accounts belonging to a suspected drug lord, Nsofo Chukwukadibia. He also had about 20 mansions belonging to this drug lord located in Lagos, Abuja, and Southeast confiscated. There's also a back and forth with the police. The NGL is alleging that that particular truck was protected by some security operatives who could have been police officers. But the police is saying that there's no how that police officers would be the ones, protecting that, and there's no how that there would be a gun battle between the police officers and operatives of the NDLEA. They would investigate. Maybe these are just fake security operatives.
All right, so I was going to take the picture story, the blackout that happened in California. 6 people have been confirmed dead after the early Tuesday flood that happened in California. According to the report, the sheriff of the county has ordered a total evacuation of 4,000 residents after the Bear Creek began to flood amid heavy rain. It's interesting that one of the things that I noticed from this report is that the California news agents were able to tell the people that so far they're about to reach about $1 billion in cost of how to evacuate, and that this flood is going to cost about $1 billion. And they also calculated the fact that in the last 2017 and a few other years, between 2011 and 2017, it also cost the government about $1 billion to take care of this kind of flooding. Now, that is interesting to me because when floods happen over here, we don't usually talk about the costs because sometimes it's almost psychological where the government is trying to tell you that this thing that just happened is going to cost us this amount of billions. You know, people now, the burden is now on the people to understand that, okay, it's going to cost them money to evacuate us and to get us shelters and everything. But here we don't count our costs.
We have a shelter.
We
don't
have
have anywhere
funds,
to
those
count our
funds
costs.
that our governors have been chopping. What's the name of the fund?
Ecological fund.
Yes, so we have
That's
funds
what
that we put ahead of when issues like this happen, but...
You want to take a story in Punch?
Yes, the Nigerian passport has fallen by 38 places in global ranking between in the past 17 years, 2006 to 2022. And this is, even though Nigeria, one of the major reasons for this is how many countries can you access without having to do visa-free. How many countries can your passport access visa-free, and how many countries would just be visa on arrival? But anything apart from those two will make your ranking drop. So it fell from 62nd in 2006 to 100 in the world in 2022. And they said that even though Nigeria has opened up our own country a bit more as compared to 2006 to now, because before we didn't give people access to our own country as much as we have now, we are still dropping in rank because some countries are making it tougher for Nigerians to get into the country. So I would think that the Foreign Affairs should be concerned about this because these are conversations about how Nigeria is seen. And somebody was, one of the reports showed that it was not an economical issue, that it's just about accessibility. The spokesperson for Nigerian Immigration Service said that the issue is based on how many passports admissibility, and is largely a function of mutual understanding and reciprocity among countries. So I feel that falls under the affairs of Foreign Affairs Ministry.
Okay, Daily Sun, insecurity, FG allays fears on election cancellation. APC governors meet in Abuja, keep mum. I have fulfilled my campaign promises, says Buhari. Adeleke orders review of Elisha varsity establishment. Edo train attack, we have not completely won war against insecurity, says Tinubu. More controversies trail new Naira notes, CBN transaction limits. LP campaign venue, Delta accuses Utomi of deceit and blackmail. And 2023 APC candidates championing modern democracy with power of delegation, says Kalu. Okay, which story is...
let me take the major headline. So the federal government has assured Nigerians that 2023 general elections will be held as scheduled on February the 25th and March 11 this year. The Minister for Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, has dismissed the concerns by INEC that security challenges across the country could lead to cancellation or postponement of the polls. So he says that he's aware that INEC is working closely with security operatives to make sure that these elections are held as scheduled. At the same event, we had the Minister for Health, and his presentation was on the resurgence of COVID. He said that the government has concluded plans to vaccinate unvaccinated travelers entering Nigeria at the airport, and also said that the Omicron variant has been in Nigeria since 2021, but dismissed fears of the new variants of COVID-19 in the country.
Okay, so our President Muhammad Buhari, was saying yesterday that he has fulfilled his promise to stabilize the nation when he came in from May 29, 2015, that he has stabilized the country and tackled Boko Haram. He was saying that he does not have 1 square inch outside Nigeria. He was speaking at Yobe State, in Yobe actually, saying that, as I said more than 30 years ago, we have no other country than Nigeria. We must all stay here to salvage it together. He is saying that the biggest security issue his administration faced was taken 8 years ago with the Boko Haram, and he can say that he has restored he has actually restored all the affected states. If you recall, Yobe was amongst the states where lots of Boko Haram had taken over at the time. He said that Yobe State was heavily attacked by terrorists and that the threat was particularly ubiquitous throughout the northeast geopolitical zone. And he's saying that in the northeast, God has helped us to clear Boko Haram. The economy has picked up, and some are asking me about the achievements of my promise to fight corruption. He's saying that he has done his work that he promised since 2015.
So let me take the story of a controversy in Delta State. Apparently, the Labour Party had tried to use a particular venue, the stadium, for their campaign, but that didn't work out. So the Patutomi gave a press conference, and the Delta State's spokesperson was addressing it that that press conference was wrong and that it was a lie, that they had gotten the approval, but because they assumed they would not get it, that Patomi now went out and now gave a press conference, and he just wanted to set the record straight that they're not playing that kind of politics within Delta State.
Okay, moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Let's see how much time we have. Fear not, elections will hold, says federal government. Sounds like the Bible. Security plans for rail stations incomplete, says NRC boss. African Bar Association flays plot against CBN Governor Emefiele. Gunmen open fire on NDLE operatives in Lagos. Afe Babalola, what we have in this country is a government-driven curriculum, and this has been so for decades. Any story? Let's go to Nigerian Tribune quickly.
Okay.
Article discusses economy security with UK government officials. Lassa fever kills medical doctor in Nasarawa. NSCDC actually confirms loss of 7 personnel to bandits attack in Kaduna. Tinubu meets APC governors, reviews campaign structures and strategies. Oyo CJ frees 9 NSAS protesters, 32 others. Lagos port operator increases export charges, threatens Nigeria's export promotion. Stop putting old notes in your ATM, CBN tells banks. Nigeria needs stingy leader to develop, says Peter Obi. And no cause for alarm, elections will hold as planned, says federal government. Okay, which story are we taking?
Okay.
The Labour Party presidential candidate has said Nigeria needs a stingy leader because people have been commenting that, oh, he doesn't...
He's stingy.
He's stingy. And that there was a particular thing that they said about him, that he didn't take care of the people, he just saved money. That his own is to be saving money, and that's what Nigeria needs, not a spendthrift shop.
Okay, any other?
Yes,
and that it's not a job for retirement, not to go there and retire. That he is young and his second in command, they're both young and ready to do the work.
Okay, so the Nigerian Medical Association in Nasarawa State have confirmed the death of Dr. Ahmed Isaiah on December 31st. They said that he died as a result of health hazard-related issues, specifically Lassa fever. He died, they said, on the 24th of December while he was carrying out a surgery on a patient. He collapsed. He had been ill. He was aware that he was sick, but there were only 2 doctors on call, and he had to continue working even while he was sick. And eventually, he passed on. And the doctors are asking the federal government imploring the government to employ more doctors and introduce incentives to curtail brain drain in the state, because there's so much pressure now on the few doctors left to keep working, even in spite of health-related issues, as we've seen in this case.
So, sad story of the passing of Peace Osigwe, and the governor of Lagos State, even the presidency, also issued several, commiserated with the family. Peace Osigwe was the founder of the African Movie Academy Award, and she died after a brief illness at the St. Nicholas Hospital. She was aged 54. And in a statement yesterday, they confirmed her death to the world, and everybody is commiserating with her. The governor of Lagos commiserated with her, saying that she's an Amazon with the family, saying that she's an Amazon in the creative sector, and many other people are also saying the same. We also commiserate with the family, that God will grant her comfort, her family.